I have something controversial to say. The FNAF movie is being prophesized to be the golden bastion of cinema, not only because it was a long time in the making, but simply because it can act as a source material to fix all the confusion around current lore. No, the FNAF movie is not going to fix the lore. Now, before I get all negative, I feel like I'm slowly growing a reputation for being negative about FNAF. I just like pointing out the questionable story choices the canon and non-canon take and actually criticizing what narratives are presented instead of just immediately dismissing the goofiness of what Scott and his writing team create and immediately going into theory mode. Look, I'm no theorist. I physically and mentally don't have it in me to put up with this objectively incoherent story. And for as much as I like keeping an ear to the ground and seeing what all the theorist YouTubers have to say, I would love to see just a regular video from them, just one of them, actually criticizing the lore and being real for a moment. Because I feel like we let a lot of things slide because we want to solve the story and never actually question if the story is good. But does this mean I hate the FNAF lore and by extension, Scott? I don't hate the FNAF lore, just don't particularly enjoy it. It's past its prime, and here's a hot take, it's not FNAF anymore. At least it abandoned the original identity that made it so unique in the first place. It's now unique in a bad way. And I don't hate Scott because he's the reason I even get the little traction I do. I'm glad to see him eating. The FNAF movie, from the way it's looking, will have its own plot line. I know, that sounds crazy. The movie has a plot, but I'm sincerely doubtful that the plot in the FNAF movie will completely adhere to whatever lore we've come to know. Yes, it will have the elements of certain story beats, but I really believe some things will not make sense. It'll literally be like the books, where it borrows lore from canon, but ultimately does its own thing. A more accurate example in the movie space are Marvel movies, or just superhero movies in general. They adapt their source material, which are the comics, but to what degree can range highly. Captain America Civil War is not like the comic. Yes, it follows the same premise and borrows a lot of ideas, but if you put them side to side, these are almost completely different stories. And that's what's going to happen with the FNAF movie. It's going to be its own thing. I'm not saying it's going to be a bad thing, but do you expect a video game movie to accurately adapt a video game? No. I feel like people are forgetting that, and we're so starved for just some sort of clarification of this wacky story that even the most well thought out theories can sometimes seem like shouting out into the void. The FNAF movie seems to be covering a lot of grounds in a singular movie. And spoiler alert, I think, in the leaked trailer, there was Springtrap. If it's covering 1 to 3, that is huge. That's 3 decades of story to cover. This movie has a lot of ground to cover in general, and following the agreed upon lore to a T would make that hard. Just based off the timeline, they'd have to deal with Fredbear's, Bite of 83, Nightmare animatronics, Sister Location animatronics, Juniors, and toy animatronics as well. It has a lot on its plate, and seeing as the only animatronics that we know are in the movie of the FNAF 1 cast, I don't think it'll cover all that. What I think will happen, the movie will be its own story, and if anything, it will just be a soft reboot of the FNAF lore and ultimately be its own canon. Just like the FNAF games are one canon, the books another, this will be its own. Maybe there will be ideas that are introduced that will cause Scott to conveniently retcon game events, but other than that, I generally don't think this will fix anything. But hey, I haven't watched the movie, and as much as I think I'm a good writer, I have no credits for the movie script. So here's the deal, 5 people watching this video. I want you to save this video, spread it around, subscribe if you want, because when October rolls around and the movie releases, I want you to come back to see if I was wrong. Anyways, new videos coming out soon. It's pretty good so far. Just promise me you'll be there to see it, alright? Until then.
Connection terminated.